You are sitting at a kitchen table at 11 p.m. The house is quiet. Everyone is asleep. There is a calculator on the table and a piece of paper with numbers on it that don't add up the way you need them to. You've been staring at this paper for 40 minutes. Not because the math is complicated, because the math is honest, and honest math at this stage of your life has a way of feeling like a verdict. You are not broke. You are not wealthy. You are somewhere in the middle of something that doesn't have a name yet. Something that millions of people are inside of right now without knowing. There are levels to it. A specific sequence. A map that nobody hands you but that exists whether you know about it or not. This is that map. Level 1. You owe more than you own. Every millionaire alive has been here. Most of them don't talk about it. It doesn't fit the origin story, but the starting point for almost every person who eventually crosses 7 figures is a net worth with a minus sign in front of it. Student loans, credit cards, a car that's worth less than what you owe on it. Maybe all three at once. You are 24 or 27 or 31 and the number that represents your financial life is negative, and the gap between where you are and where the word millionaire lives feels like a distance that only other people cross. The trap at level 1 is not the debt. The debt is just math. The trap is the story you build around the debt. The story that says you started too late, or started wrong, or that the game was rigged before you sat down. Some of that story is even true. It doesn't matter. The people who move out of level 1 do something specific. They stop measuring the wrong number. They stop looking at the debt and start looking at the direction. A net worth of negative $40,000 moving toward negative $32,000 is not failure. It is movement. And movement, sustained long enough, becomes something else entirely. Level 2. 0. This level is invisible. Nobody celebrates it. There is no notification. No moment where confetti falls. You just look at the number one day and the minus sign is gone. Net worth 0. You own exactly what you owe. Everything cancels out. It is the most underrated milestone in the entire journey. Because below 0, every dollar you earn has to fight through the debt before it builds anything. At 0, for the first time in your adult financial life, every dollar you don't spend goes directly towards something real. The ground is finally flat. You can start building upward. Most people blow past this level without noticing. They were so focused on the debt they never paused at 0, never registered what it meant, never let it recalibrate their sense of what was possible now. The ones who move fastest from level 2 are the ones who noticed, who felt the shift, who understood that the rules just changed. Level 3, the first $100,000. This is the hardest stretch, not because the amount is staggering, because it takes long enough that your faith fails before your math does. You have been doing the right things, contributing to your account, keeping your spending below your income, not buying the car everyone else bought. And the number moves so slowly that some months it feels like it isn't moving at all. Some months it actually isn't. The market gives back what it gave. You watch the number fall and rise and fall again, and somewhere around month 18, you start wondering if the people who said this was possible were just lucky or lying. They weren't. The first $100,000 is just slow. Mechanically, mathematically, unavoidably slow. Because the compounding engine hasn't hit its stride yet. You are feeding it. It is not yet feeding you back in any way you can feel. Charlie Munger said the first $100,000 is the hardest, that you should claw your way there, by any means necessary, and then let the math take over. He was right. What he didn't say is that the hardest part of getting there isn't the discipline. It's the silence. The complete absence of external validation. Nobody claps for your index fund balance. Nobody throws a dinner when you hit $60,000. You do this alone, in the dark, sustained entirely by a belief in a future you cannot yet see. The people who cross level 3 are not smarter than the people who don't. They are simply more comfortable with the silence. Level 4. $100,000 to $500,000. Something changes here. It is not dramatic. You almost miss it. But 1 month, the growth from your portfolio is larger than your contribution. The machine started helping. For the first time, your money is doing measurable work on your behalf. Not theoretically. Actually, you can see it in the numbers. This is the level where two types of people permanently separate. The first type feels the breathing room and exhales. The apartment gets nicer. The car gets newer. The restaurants get better. Each upgrade is individually justified. Together they rebuild exactly the financial pressure the portfolio growth was supposed to release. The level extends indefinitely. The number grows, but the feeling doesn't change. The second type feels the breathing room and reinvests it. Not all of it. They are not monks, but they protect the rate. They keep feeding the machine at the same percentage even as income rises. They let the gap between what they earn and what they spend keep widening invisibly. 10 years later, those two people are not in the same place. They are not even in the same conversation. The decision that separates them is never one big dramatic choice. It is the same small choice made 300 times. The upgrade you took. The upgrade you didn't. Accumulated. Across a decade into a distance that can no longer be closed. Level 5, 500,000. This is the number that changes how you sleep, not how you live. Not what you drive, not what other people see when they look at your life. How you sleep. Because at $500,000, you are one bad month from crisis the same way you were at $10,000. You have more. You can absorb more. But you are still fundamentally dependent. The job still owns you. The boss still has leverage. The layoff is still a disaster. But the feeling is different. There is a floor now. Something underneath you that wasn't there before. You could survive a year without working and not lose your home. That has never been true in your life until this moment. You walk into your manager's office differently now. Not aggressively. Not with any announcement. Just differently. Because the conversation is different when you are having it from a position of partial choice rather than complete necessity. He does not know this. It shows up in small ways he can't name. You hold eye contact a second longer. You finish your sentences with a period instead of a question mark. $500,000 does not make you free. It makes you less owned. That is its own category of transformation. Level 6, $1,000. You think it will feel like arrival. It doesn't. You check the account on an ordinary Tuesday. The number is there. 7 figures. The thing you have been building towards since the kitchen table with the calculator and the paper that didn't add up. You close the app. You make dinner. Your partner asks what you want to watch. You pick something. You fall asleep on the couch before it ends. This is not disappointment. This is something more interesting. The $1 million is real. What isn't real is the version of this moment you spent years imagining. Because the person who built this is not the same person who started building it. The 24-year-old with the negative net worth had a fantasy about what $1 million would feel like. The person who actually arrived there outgrew the fantasy somewhere around level 4 and forgot to update the picture. What you have at $1 million is not a feeling. It is a function. 4% of $1 million is $40,000 a year. $3,233 a month. That is not a lavish life. In most American cities, it is a modest one. But it is a life that asks nothing of your employer. A life that runs without your permission being required. The $1 million is not the prize. The $1 million is the machine finally running on its own. Level 7, generational. Most people stop at level 6. They worked for the number. They reached it. The math sustains their life. That is enough, and it is genuinely remarkable. But there is a level 7, not defined by a dollar amount, defined by a shift in what the money is for. At level 7, the question changes. It is no longer how do I make enough to stop working. It becomes what do I build that outlasts me. The investment account that your children inherit already seeded. The financial education you give them early enough that they never start at level 1 the way you did. The compounding that began with you and continues without you. This is not about legacy in the grand public sense. It is about the kitchen table, the 11 p.m. calculator, the honest math. You had to find the map yourself. You had to move through levels nobody named for you. You figured it out in silence, without validation or applause or anyone telling you that what you were doing was working. Level 7 is deciding that the person who comes after you gets to start somewhere different. They get to start with the map, somewhere tonight. Someone is sitting at a kitchen table at 11 p.m., calculator, paper, numbers that don't add up the way they need to. They think they are looking at a problem. They are looking at level 1. They just don't know yet that level 1 is exactly where every single person on this map started, including the ones who made it all the way to the end.